So welcome, Paul Toman. For those
Hi.
of you that don't know Paul is only a relatively recent customer. Jamer's 20 years. Paul's been working with us for about 18 months or so
Correct.
now, really, isn't it?
Correct.
Actually, probably slightly longer. And when I met you, you were doing some albums, but not that much. You did a lot of digital files. So one of the things we're going to talk about today, and I want you to share, because you are an amazing success story, both in terms of your previous business that was very, very successful, driving through for your wedding customers, but also the change in your business that you've moved to print. And so you are almost a perfect example of what Jane was talking about, being really, really busy, doing lots and lots of weddings, but actually you could have done a lot less weddings and made a lot more money. And that's one of the things that we want to talk about. But first off, I just want to ask you a little bit about your market. So you work a lot of the North London, particularly the Jewish market. You're quite strong in as well, isn't it? That's your kind of area.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Since 2009.
Right. And I know you have a background in marketing, so you've had a strong marketing background. So you brought kind of business and marketing skills to your photography business. So
yeah, I'm very much a marketing guy who's found himself in photography, rather than a photographer who's doing really, really well in marketing. So, I'm the only person that will be on this 2-day weekend workshop that would put his hand up and say, I'm not really a photographer. I'm actually a marketing person first and foremost, but still.
Well, you've done a great job, and actually, you found us in a way through the Chrismans, Ben and Erin, didn't you? And their workshop.
Absolutely, at the castle, end of September 2019. I went over there really just to learn from Ben and Erin how to improve my craft, make it more creative, make it more fun, really sort of get myself out of my comfort zone. Because I had, as you were talking about with Jane, I've been doing a lot of weddings and it was starting to get a little bit predictable. I was starting to feel a little bit stale. So I signed up. I've been following Ben and Erin online for years, got to the castle and very quickly realized that this was going to be way more than just a photography workshop. Way more.
And there was so much more. And obviously you met Steve there, and that grew a lot of of your understanding about how to interact with your customers. And that's become a mainstay of what you've done for your success. Tell me what you did during lockdown, the first lockdown. What actually happened for you?
Well, the first lockdown, I picked up this instrument which sits on the desk, which has got this wire that comes out the end of it. It's called a telephone. And I literally phoned, I'm being facetious, but it's amazing what happens when you do something as old school as picking up the phone and speaking to clients who you haven't spoken to since the wedding day. So we're going back to probably 2015. 2014 maybe. So I kind of picked about 5 years worth of wedding clients from my database. I wrote out lists of all of them that I felt would be open to a conversation with me. And I picked up the phone and I literally just had a conversation with them about how they are, how the family's coping with this weird new world that we're in. It was very light. It wasn't salesy. It was just there for them. I'm thinking of you. It would be great to reconnect because I haven't seen you since the wedding. Is that kind of tone?
Yeah. So just as a, I'm connecting with all my past customers because I'm sitting here not doing any work, and I thought I'd just say hello and find out how things are in your world.
Just being human, nothing more than that. But from that came a lot of conversations with these clients where they basically said, because my name brought back what we had been doing at the wedding. And they were thinking, never got around to doing that album. And I said to them many occasions, what have you actually done with those digital files that I gave you on that nasty little bit of USB plastic, which is not going to work in any computers from about 5 years from now? What have you done with those images that I gave you? And they said nothing.
Wow.
I
heard a statistic. There's something like 2 million weddings in the US that have never, ever had an album. And I don't know what the numbers are in the UK, but I bet it's high. I bet it's really high.
I'm sure. And I think to a degree, and I don't really have any stats to back this up, this is just a hunch. I think we as an industry have done a really good job at educating the modern client that what they should expect from their wedding is a little USB stick with a whole bunch of digital files.
Well, the press have done it too. You know, make sure you get high-res images. You
Yeah.
don't need to get an album from them. You can get it online. And I think when you went to the castle, you saw that what we offered was just so different to what the public can get.
Totally. And also there's something wonderfully physical about picking up an album or a print or a piece of wall art, which you don't get when you pick up a USB stick.
No.
There's no comparison. So being in the castle, which obviously is a truly a magical fairy tale place to begin with, surrounded by, you know, some of the world's greatest photographers coming as attendees, with awesome tutors and you know, people who really know what they're doing, imparting their knowledge. What it made me realize was, oh my God, what have I been doing the last 10 years? And what I've been doing is perpetuating this sort of this feed from the industry, from the press, from the general zeitgeist, which is you should get a USB stick, image files, reproduction copyright, and then you're done.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that I've certainly noticed is there is a generational shift in a number of ways. There's been a generation that hit digital and went, yeah, we've got to have everything digitally. Then the younger generations coming through and starting to see print as something exciting, unique, different. You know, the amount of little Instax cameras that are spitting out this amazing, oh my God, look, it's printed. It's
actually something you can hold. It's really strange. It's this dichotomy where we've got incredible technology, which can, you know, you can airdrop photos from one mobile phone to another. And yet, at the same time, people are really into old vinyl records and turntable machines. So there's this, it's kind of both things are really popular.
So how did it work for you? Let's let people, how did it work? Tell me what happened.
Picked up the phone, had some great conversations, really got the client to, well, I didn't have to get them to slow down because they were pretty slow already because we were in lockdown, but really to stop and think about how they felt and what the wedding has meant to them and what their life has been since the wedding day. And from that was a conversation along the lines of, well, we can do something for you. Let's work together as a team to cherish those favorite moments and feelings and emotions that you had on the wedding day in a beautiful premium quality printed product, whatever it is, right? So the client went, oh, great. I didn't even know. That's brilliant. So from that came a design process, different styles of albums. And I mean, we're looking at about 50 albums in less than about 14 months.
Yeah.
And
well, I know during the lockdown period, you were sending us album orders.
Yeah.
And I know we saw kind of 10, 20, 30, 40 albums coming through.
Yeah.
You weren't working. I remember you said to me, I've made more money in the last 6 months than I did during the previous 6 months when I was shooting.
In terms of actual profit. Yeah, absolutely. So, and then that gave you an opportunity to have the album, bring it, have it delivered here. I check it. I then wrap it up, lots of bows and ribbons.
You have a very special way of delivering albums.
And then
we've seen a couple of your videos of.
We might put out some of these links later, but because clients can't come here to pick up the album, and I can't really go into their house, I literally take one of these tables that I'm sitting in front of now, with a kind of a covering and some balloons, and I get some champagne, and I take it to the client's house, stand outside on the pavement or in the car park, and they come out and we go through the album together. And from that, you hear these nuggets of gold, like yesterday when I was standing in a freezing cold car park in Mill Hill, and Hannah and Charles came out to look at their album, and she said, this is a game changer. These were her words. Wow. This is a game changer, going from looking at pictures on a screen to actually seeing them come alive in front of your eyes. And I feel like I'm back there in the wedding day. This is the bride, right? And it's a primo book. It's a beautiful album. But the emotional experience that she went on was so different to saying, here's your USB stick and then run away.
Yeah, I mean, I've managed to see the video of that, and it's you're right. It looked like it was a cold day.
The balloons were flying everywhere. It was quite hard to manage in terms of production. But the point is, the client is getting a different experience to what I had been offering before. it's been something that's relatively easy and straightforward to do because you guys are all set up to do it. You haven't closed at any point really, and I'm just having a lot of fun.
I think there's other things I know that you and I have worked on, and throughout that you also challenged us to create some unique things for the albums. We did one with a part of the Hooper in there, didn't we? Which was really cool.
Yeah. So that was a couple who got married in the summer of 2019. The bride's dad had died quite a few years before, and they'd stitched his name in Hebrew in the material of the chuppah, in the roof. It was an outdoor ceremony,
right,
so that when she stood during the ceremony, his name was above her, which was really significant. And I said to them, this was even before the wedding, I said, guys, we've got to do something with this because you've put so much emotional energy into the idea of having his name there so that he's with you during the ceremony. So anyway, they cut out that piece of material, they had it hemmed around the edges, and we built in their original wedding book, in the presentation case, a false floor, as it were.
Into the design box, wasn't it? We made
into the design box, yeah. Into the design box. So it's completely bespoke to this couple. It doesn't exist anywhere else because it was to the measurement of that piece of material. So they have a one-off design box, and I've seen it. They've put the material in this false bottom, so to speak, the shelf underneath, and then the album on top, because now her dad is with them in the design box with the album.
I think one of the things that I know certainly has helped you is that emotional connection and connecting your clients emotionally to the photographs and giving them that opportunity to see how they feel and how those photographs, and that's very much driven from the workshop, wasn't it, initially, and then subsequent workshops receive. So do you feel client photographers miss a trick by just giving them the photos or just sending them the album and not connecting them with those photographs?
Yes, completely. I think that look, my background in marketing and advertising in particular, where I was in between the creative team and the client, was and that was sort of a 15-year career, was I was able to see how art directors in particular would put a portfolio in a beautiful leather case in front of the client and then stand back and go, I don't need to do anything, right? My work speaks for itself, okay? Now, to a degree, and I'm not naming names or pointing fingers or anything, but to a degree, photographers are also guilty of that they have a beautiful website, beautiful work, and they put it in front of the client and they expect the client to go, oh, well, because of that, I'm booking you.
Yeah.
And it's not enough because, as we all know, everyone's a photographer now. And, you know, you are the premium quality product supplier in the world, but you're not the only one. So there is an industry full of suppliers, and therefore people think, oh, well, I can just be a photographer and that's all I need to do. It's not. I would say the photography in my business is about 20%.
Right. So do you find then, so that your clients, as you connect them to their photographs, they want to buy more from you? Do you think that, because you also have, you've recently launched a studio as well, haven't you? So you're now getting more into portraits of pets and families once you can open up.
Yeah.
So do you think that by connecting people to their photograph, it changes the value of that photograph?
Yes, absolutely. It changes the value. But even before that, and this is very much what I picked up in the first workshop and subsequent workshops with Steve, is the emotional connection that the client has with themselves, with their family, with their kids, with their grandparents, with their dog, whatever. Now that experience, that connection, that relationship, that's what we're photographing, but we've got to kind of make the client realize that that emotional experience is worth being photographed.
Yeah.
Now, once we've done that, which predominantly is on the phone, the client is then saying, oh God, yeah, you're right. My kids have been absolutely brilliant during lockdown. I do want to capture how they are now, so I'll never forget it. From that then comes, okay, well, I'll photograph it. And that's really the philosophy behind Cherry Studios, and our hashtag, which is positivity through photography, is whatever it is that's in your life that you look at, it's going to be positive, because if it brings you joy, then that's what's important to you. And then that's what we photograph. That's our brief.
So just talking about that, moving into this new studio, I know you've been a big fan of our Amalfi panel.
Yes.
Because you have a lot there which you show, and there's some up on the wall there.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a world preview with you whilst we're here. So this is a world first for us, a world first for the product, influenced by you. You know, we might even tag the name of this Cheris panel. Tell me about what together as a partnership we've put together.
Yeah. So in essence, one of the things that I've realized is that people can go and get their most favorite photographs done as a canvas or an acrylic anywhere, and God help them if they buy them anywhere on the high street. So let's just leave that there, right? Let's park that. What our job is also to show to clients that there is a way in which a piece of wall art can be manufactured for them that they can't get anywhere else. Now, if we can get to that point, then they are completely reliant on us, and we can then serve them properly.
Yeah, and I think that's just in terms of our world. That's why we encourage photographers to want to create something unique and different for their album for every single client. It just, you know, the cost from us is marginal, but the effect to the client is so much more. You know, even within our wall art, we did things differently to everybody else.
Correct.
Just so much better quality printing, different way of mounting the whole thing. So sorry, I just wanted, just for those that don't know us for wall art, because many people think about us for albums. You know, we've created not just the same as everybody else, but you're absolutely right. The horror stories I hear and see of people that have gone off to the high street and they get this photograph that's green.
And then phone the photographer saying, "What's wrong with the picture?" Well, it's Anyway, so let's leave the negative stuff. The positive thing is that when I saw the Amalfi panel at the castle, at that workshop in September 2019, what I saw before me was something that was genuinely unique, because it has this backing panel which can have one of three coverings. It has a fine art paper for the actual photographic print. And then it has this effectively an aperture around it, a frame around it, made out of 200-year-old hand-milled paper from the Amalfi Coast in Italy as a piece of art, which can hang, and it's really thin and it's light and it just needs one nail and it's done, right? And I'm looking at that thinking, okay, that's actually really interesting, because what that is, it's the tradition of the Amalfi paper mixed with the modernity of wall art. Now that combination of tradition and modern is completely right up my street, and I've adored it. And pretty much every single family photograph I now have in my own home is an Amalfi panel. But when I thought about my clients and spoke to my clients, they loved the idea of having multiple photographs in one piece of wall art. Very similar to the Steve Saporito collection, which Graphy has, of these storyboards, okay, where you have 5 photographs all lined up, one piece of art, beautifully produced in acrylic or canvas or sheet metal or whatever. Now, I thought about that and mixing that with the Amalfi panel, and spoke to you last summer, and I said, could we do something where we actually design one piece of Amalfi panel, but it has multiple Amalfi panels on it? And you said, design it for me and let's see what we can do. And that's exactly what I did.
So we but in fact it kind of got parked a little bit because we all had lots of other things we were working on, and then lockdown came, and then you came up with the design only earlier this year. I mean, already into March, and it always seems like the year's just started.
It was January. And it was 5 photos, and the factory came back saying, well, this is a bespoke piece, we've never done this before, we're not sure whether the backing panel for a 5 photograph Amalfi panel will be something that we feel confident enough, especially with the shipping. So we're not sure, could we do 3 photographs on one panel?
It was an experiment, and one of the things that concerned us was, would we be able to produce it, ship it, would it stay what we needed it to stay? So we needed to do a test. So we together we worked on a 3-panel version as a start point.
And here it is.
And here we've got it. So this is very exciting. So this is a world first, everybody. This is the first time that this has been seen. So this is a triple Amalfi panel. It has an aluminium core to it, so it keeps it rigid and strong. As Paul said, you know, you can have the fine art print. I think we put a luster print on that one. Look at how thin that is, and yet the aluminium that's inside it is what keeps it rigid. Paul actually mentioned that the paper that's around it comes from a paper mill that we use in our book that's in the Kelly Brown range called the Favola, and also we're in the products we're about to launch this weekend called the Storyboard. So it's the storybook, sorry, yeah, that's the storyboard. Yeah. So that watch out, hopefully we're going to be able to get that into you know, production. It looks like it's arrived okay. It looks like it's gonna do the job. I think that's fantastic. Thanks Paul for showing that one off. It's a fabulous piece. Now tell me then, so your world into portraiture and the client connections that you create, how does that affect your sales with, I know you haven't had that much time to get your portrait business going, but how does that affect your sales in terms of the portrait client? Making those physical phone calls, does that make a big difference? Or is it, you know, because a lot of people don't like using the phone these days. Oh no, I don't want to talk on the phone. You know, is there a way, do you find that phone call makes a difference?
Yes, the phone call makes a huge difference. Otherwise the client's walking in and they're just walking into a shop,
right? And
it's very transactional. Okay, they're not walking into a shop; they're walking into an area where they're going to have an experience. Okay,
so service then is something that makes the difference.
It's so not the photography. It's, for me, it's so not where you put your lights or what lenses you use. It's all about how the client is feeling when they first walk into your studio. Right. So they, in their mind, they're already buying before they've even had the shoot. And you can only do that on the phone. Having said that, there will be certain clients that have a different way in which they consume media. So for some clients, it's done over WhatsApp. We video call each other, or I leave a lot of video messages on WhatsApp. People like to see people, especially now.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it's over the phone, so that by the time they walk into the studio, they've thought of one emotional feeling and takeout that they want because of how they feel about their kids. They've identified one place in their home that they want to display that feeling, so they can soak it up every time they walk into a particular room.
And I'm sure you remind them about that when you're talking about how will this make you feel every time you know, how crappy your day's been, you know.
Exactly. So when you get home after struggling home on the tube, and then there's that emotional feeling. So I don't talk about product as such. I talk about how would it feel to have that feeling, that emotion on the wall, proudly displayed in your home, so that every time you want to, you can just look up, see it, and feel awesome again.
Yeah, or if it's a picture of your child,
yeah,
you know, reinforcing how cool and how strong and how wonderful they are, so that every time they look on the wall, it just as a reminder of how, you know, of what a great person that they are.
Yeah, so. Yeah, totally. Cool. And we've got to be positive, because a lot of clients are not positive right now. And if we can't get our positivity through to them because of what we do, then we're not listening to them properly, you know?
Well, do you know what? It's been, you know, it's always a pleasure and to listen to you explain how your business is working. And for those that you know, check out Paul's website. He's gone from, you know, a digital only photographer selling JPEGs to a product photographer who I think you value your work so much more now because of the connections that you get giving people the albums too, don't you?
Totally.
We're gonna share quite a lot of we'll share some of your videos a little bit later on after the weekend.
Great.
Paul, so to those that aren't making great success out of their sales, what would you suggest?
Just pick up the phone. It's that simple.
Pick up the phone and talk.
Pick up the phone with genuine intent to listen properly, actively to your clients, and listen to how they are and what they want, and then deliver that to them. And that's actually the essence of marketing. Listen to your clients and then give them what they want.
Paul, thank you so much for sharing your tips today. It's been great. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. We're going to have a little short little session, and we're going to be going back off to see Dario now, off to Italy to see Dario. And then we'll be back in a little while to talk about how to successfully use magazines in your business with Miranda Walton. So see you all guys soon. Thanks again, Paul. Speak to you again soon. Take care.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.